One day, as Sarah was driving to work, her tire blew out on the highway. She had replaced them just 6 months earlier because her mechanic said the tread looked low. But a hidden issue, totally unrelated to tread wear, caused the failure. In this video, we'll break down how tire age, driving habits, and misalignments could lead you to replacing tires too soon, or to dangerous failures if you miss the real warning signs. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. What if I told you the way most people check their tires is not only wrong, but also costing them money? It's true. For years, drivers have been taught that the only thing that really matters is how the tread looks. Worn-looking tread? Replace the tires. Deep tread? Keep using them. Seems simple, right? The actual story behind tire safety and replacement is far more complex. And falling for this myth could either leave you wasting hundreds of dollars, or worse, driving on tires that aren't safe at all. Let's start with something you've probably seen before: the penny or quarter test. You insert a coin into the tire's tread grooves to check remaining depth. If part of President Lincoln's head disappears inside the tread, that means the tire has enough depth left. If it doesn't, it's time to replace. The quarter test works the same way. If the tread reaches past the top of Washington's head, there's enough depth for safe driving. While this is a quick and popular method to gauge tread wear, it focuses on only one part of a tire's overall condition. Tread depth alone can tell you if your tire is losing traction, but it won't reveal the risks lurking beneath the surface of the rubber, risks that even brand new looking tread can't hide. Here's the truth. Tire age matters just as much as tread depth, something far too many drivers don't think about. Big manufacturers like Bridgestone recommend replacing tires after 6 years, even if they look fine on the outside. Why? Tire rubber is constantly exposed to heat, UV rays, and air, all of which cause it to degrade over time. This process happens whether the car is being driven every day or parked in a garage for months. A car with low mileage might still have good-looking tires according to the tread test, but if those tires are older than 6 or 7 years, the rubber could be dried out, brittle, and far more prone to failure. It's like having a nice-looking apple that's actually mealy inside. What looks fine isn't always safe. Here's what makes it even trickier. Tire aging isn't something that's easy to notice at a glance. You won't spot it while casually walking past your car or during a quick stop at the shop. In fact, many mechanics rely almost entirely on the visual depth of your tread when making replacement recommendations. They likely won't check the internal rubber breaking down from age, or warn you that your tires could still fail even if there's plenty of traction left. That's how the myth of worn-looking tires keeps drivers swapping out perfectly good tires and ignoring the ones that might actually need replacing. And when this happens, you're not just wasting money. Old or degraded rubber changes how the tire grips the road. It becomes harder for it to maintain traction during sudden stops, sharp turns, or poor road conditions like rain. According to Bridgestone, rubber deterioration increases the risk of cracks forming in the tire's sidewalls or tread. These cracks weaken the structure, putting you at risk for something as dangerous as a blowout, just like Sarah's story from earlier. The real danger isn't just that you might replace too early. It's when you don't replace because the tread checks out fine, without realizing age has already compromised the safety of the tire. Most drivers don't even know they're driving on ticking time bombs. Here's a quick way to avoid becoming one of them. Check your tire's DOT code. This number is printed on the sidewall and tells you the week and year the tire was manufactured. For instance, a DOT code ending in 1523 means the tire was made in the 15th week of 2023. Knowing this, you can stay ahead of aging issues and make sure even good-looking tires aren't silently putting you at risk. Could you be spending hundreds of dollars on new tires before you actually need to? It happens more often than you'd think, and tire shops and dealerships might be part of the reason. Here's the situation. When you go in for maintenance or an inspection, one of the first things they'll check is your tread depth. It's an easy measurement to show. A quick glance, a tool, or even the classic coin test, and they can confidently tell you whether your tread looks low or still has life left. And while tread depth is an important factor, it's not the full story. Far from it. The problem here is that tread is a visible, measurable metric, making it a convenient sales pitch. When a tech tells you your tread is dangerously low, it's easy to believe them. But something they're not always as quick to mention is that tires don't just wear out from use. Even tires with plenty of tread can become unsafe once the rubber starts degrading with age. Many drivers replace their tires early because they're worried about traction, only to find out later the real issue wasn't wear, it was the tire's age. For example, imagine this. A driver, let's call him Mike, brings his car in for a routine oil change. The mechanic checks his tires and says, "Your tread is worn down to 5/32 of an inch. You should replace them soon. It's not safe driving like this." Mike doesn't know too much about tires, so he nods and agrees to replace them right there. Fast forward a couple days, and he does a bit of research, only to discover that his tires were just 4 years old and well above the critical 2/32 tread depth considered the legal minimum. What Mike wasn't told is that the 6-year mark for tire age hadn't been reached yet, and his tires would have been fine for another year or two at least. That recommendation for new tires cost Mike every bit of $500, and it wasn't necessary. So, why does this happen? It's simple. Fear sells. Words like worn tread or unsafe tires fuel automatic concern about accidents or losing control on the road. And those concerns aren't invalid. Low tread does increase stopping distance and reduces grip, especially on wet surfaces. Consumer Reports emphasizes replacing tires once tread reaches 4/32 of an inch to maintain traction in slick conditions. But the real issue lies in treating that number as the sole reason for replacement. What the industry uses as a major selling point only tells part of the story. Tire safety is about far more than what can be seen during a quick glance. So, how do you know if you're really due for new tires or being sold on unnecessary replacements? There's one key detail you can check: the DOT code. Look for it on the sidewall of your tires. It's a series of numbers and letters that includes the manufacturing date. The last 4 digits tell you the week and year the tire was made. For example, 0319 means the tire was made in the 3rd week of 2019. If your tires are over 6 years old, regardless of how they look, it's time to replace them. If they're younger and still have tread, you might be able to hold off. And that's the hidden truth most dealerships won't highlight. But here's the catch. Even if your tires are relatively young, your driving habits could be wearing them down much faster than you think. You might be the reason your tires are wearing out faster than they should. It's not something drivers usually want to hear, but the truth is, your driving habits can quietly cut the life of your tires much shorter than expected and cost you hundreds in premature replacements. What makes it worse? Many of these habits are so common, they're easy to overlook. Take aggressive driving, for example. Hard braking, rapid acceleration, and speeding around corners at high speeds all create excessive strain on your tires. Imagine taking a sharp turn too quickly. What really happens there? The weight of your car shifts heavily against the outside tires, stressing their sidewalls and eating away at the tread on the edges. Do it often enough, and you'll start noticing uneven wear, typically rounding on the shoulders of the tires. The tires are essentially fighting physics every time you make those tight, fast turns. While it might get you somewhere faster, it's harsh on your tires and shaves miles off their lifespan. Another hidden culprit is overloading your vehicle. While towing a trailer or packing up for a road trip might seem simple enough, your tires may experience higher stress than they were designed to handle. Carrying excessive cargo or hauling heavy loads increases the weight pressing down on your tires, which accelerates wear and heightens the chances of damage to the tire's internal structure. This issue can be especially problematic in trucks or SUVs, where owners may frequently tow boats, trailers, or other heavy equipment. Here's a visualization for how tire inflation affects wear. Think of a properly inflated tire like a balloon with just the right amount of air, balanced even, and able to distribute weight properly. Now imagine underinflating that balloon so it's sagging and bulging at the bottom. What happens? That extra sag creates far more stress in certain areas than others. Overinflation, on the other hand, forces the balloon to stretch tightly, concentrating stress down the middle instead of spreading it evenly. The same thing happens to your tires, and uneven wear is almost inevitable without proper inflation checks. So, what can you do to combat these issues? 2 easy and inexpensive habits can massively extend your tire life. Regular tire rotations and wheel alignments. Rotating your tires every 5,000 to 6,000 miles helps make sure all 4 get even wear. After all, the tires on the front of your car typically wear faster than the ones in the back because they handle most of the braking and steering. Alignment checks are just as important. If your car pulls to one side or your steering wheel doesn't sit straight, you might have a misaligned suspension system. That misalignment forces the tires to drag slightly instead of rolling smoothly, wearing down the tread faster on one side. By being mindful of your driving habits and sticking to these simple maintenance tips, you can avoid premature wear, save money, and stay safer on the road. But there's one more crucial factor to consider: the age of your tires. Even the best driving habits won't save aging tires from eventually becoming unsafe. Most drivers rely on tread depth alone to decide when to replace their tires, but that's only part of the story. Understanding that tire age matters just as much can save you from wasting money and, more importantly, keep you and your passengers safe. Tire rubber degrades over time, even if you don't drive often. Experts like Bridgestone recommend replacement at 6 years and mandatory removal after 10, regardless of how your tires look. Start checking the DOT code on your tires to know their age, not just their tread. It's a simple habit that could save your life and your wallet down the road.